Hey y'all, it's been about a year since I made content, but my New Year's resolution for 2026 was to get back into it. So here we go. Here's my 2025 favorite reads. Even though I wasn't here, I was reading. I read about 280 books this year, and I had like 15 five-star reads. 5 of those were rereads because my book club read a book I had already read. And so there were a couple of rereads in there, but I just wanted to talk about, kind of yap about the books that I read this year that I really enjoyed. So here's the stack. I do not have some physical copies, so some of them are just going to yap about, not have the prop. And I have some that I've loaned out to people since I read them. So, Witches, Midwives, and Nurses. This is a super quick read, and it is about the history of the demonization of witches and not witches, yes, but no, midwives and nurses, and how kind of the church purposefully demonized women in healing practices because they wanted people to go to the church and pay the church to make them better, because, you know, God is what makes you sick. So very interesting read. Also, It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I grew up on Mr. Rogers, and this is an interview kind of with Mr. Rogers and different things that he said over the years, and it was so fascinating. And obviously I like tabbed some stuff, but I didn't have my good tabs, so I have just huge sticky notes. But there were so many things that I thought, wow, I wish I had read this when I was a young mom, because there's so many things that really resonated with me from my parenting journey. Then I have World of Wonders. This and the other book by this author called Bite by Bite were both kind of interesting. One talks about food and one talks about different animals, plants from the world, and each thing talks about like that item, but also a personal story about the author's interactions with those items and how they think that item relates to something going on in their lives. It was a very emotional and yet beautiful read, and I really enjoyed it. I picked it up literally because it was shimmery and I was like, gorgeous. But I really did love this one. And then I read Bite by Bite and I was like, wait a minute, this sounds really familiar. And then I looked and I was like, same author. A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. Honestly, everybody talked about this. If you haven't read it, read it. It's so freaking cute, cozy, adorable. It is gorgeous, and especially for neurodivergent folks, it really feels like a warm hug. Then I have The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen and A Nobleman's Guide to Seducing a Scoundrel. These go together, and I read book 2 first because I didn't know it was a book 2. But they are both queer period romances, and they are so friggin' cute. There's like skullduggery, there's like secret treasure. It's super fun read. Charlotte Isles Is Not a Detective. This I actually started because I saw it on, the author was doing like bits on TikTok where she was talking about like what it would be like to, I read Encyclopedia Brown when I was a kid, like Nancy Drew, those kinds of things. So it's about a child detective growing up and becoming an adult and what life is like as somebody who is known for being a child detective. And it was super funny. And there were so many times that I was like, this is hilarious. It is so my style of humor. How to Become the Dark Lord and Die Trying. This is also funny. It's a little more gory than I really usually would sign up for. And if I had known going in, I probably wouldn't have read it. But I got into it before I started getting to the part where it was like really a little bit aggressively gory. But it is funny, heartfelt, and it's about this girl who goes to a magical land and is supposed to be the chosen one, but becomes the Dark Lord instead. Or dies trying. Pucking Wild. This is from Emily Rath's Jacksonville Rays series. I've read all of the ones that are out so far, and I will read the next one. This one I think is, I don't know, I think maybe 1 is my favorite, but 3 is also very good. I read 2 and 4 as well, and they were cute, but they're just not like the extra special sauce that this one has. Then you guys all know my secret love of, not so secret, Megan Bannon and her series. So The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam came out this year, and I was so excited to get my hands on it. It is about Rosie, who is a demigod, and her meeting this guy who is unexpected, and they kind of butt heads. It's kind of an enemies to lovers, but it's a very fun ride and also had some real heart to it. The Enchanted Greenhouse. I loved The Spell Shop, and this is so cozy. It is about the person who created Kaz from The Spell Shop, and then she becomes human again because she was turned into a statue, and in the way of becoming human she has some other things that happen, and it was so cute and cozy, and I really enjoyed it. The world building is gorgeous and interesting. This is probably my most recent 5-star read. It's Hemlock and Silver by T. Kingfisher, and honestly it's kind of a little bit dark, but I really enjoyed it. It is kind of a retelling of Rose Red and Snow White, but with a twist, and the main character is not Snow White or Rose Red. It is a poisoner, or a person who cures poisonings, and so it was a very interesting ride. Lastly, the last of my physical ones is Say You'll Remember Me. This is Abby Jimenez, and it was, oh, I cried so much. It was about this couple who meet in kind of unusual circumstances, but then they aren't able to be together for various reasons, and the way that things work out is just, oh, it gets me choked up. It is so sweet. This is my official favorite book of each month, so I'm going to go over the ones that I don't actually have physical copies of, or that I don't have the physical copy with me. For February, it was The Galaxy and The Ground Within. This is a Becky Chambers. If you love cozy sci-fi, this is a win. It was a fun read. There's a lot going on, but it was definitely worth the time, and I do love anything written by Becky Chambers. Everything is Tuberculosis in March. I will say my son's name is also Henry, so if you've read the book, you know, but I was like weeping. I was crying so much, but it was a really interesting read and really informative. Then Promise Me Sunshine. This is another, I don't know why I was on this roll of like weepy romances where the things that are not about the romance, but things going on in the characters' lives just sent me. This was so, like, it's a meditation on grief, but there's also this love story happening and this person trying to decide whether they want to engage with life again. So it was very moving, and I think it was done really well. I read Cultish, and it was super fascinating. I have always been interested in cults. I think Heaven's Gate happened when I was pretty young, but I remember being really thrown by it and really like wanting to know everything about it because I wanted to like protect myself from that. So this was an interesting read for me. Then Automatic Noodles. This was also cozy sci-fi. I've just been in my cozy sci-fi era, apparently. This is like dystopian sci-fi, and I was watching the panelists the other day, and they were talking about the rise of dystopian cozy books, and I was like, I don't really know what that means. And then I was like, that's what it is. Post the war of the United States, this noodle shop is run by robots, kind of. And they have to try and like hide their identity, because if they are known to be robots, then they won't be able to continue to run this business. And then the last one that I don't have on here is Human History on Spicy Stuff. And this was a super interesting read if you're interested. I did not realize a lot of this information, and it was a really interesting read for me, but that's what I got. Those are my reads. Tell me what your favorite reads are, and hopefully I will get back into posting and be here more often. So, see you soon.